She was like, what do you mean? I'm a nine. And it's like, no, 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 no. We're on the same level.
I'm really interested, Homat, in some of your personal experiences. One of my favorite ones was there was a girl that people were like, "Are you guys dating?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "What? Why would you think we're dating?" And
hmm
and I want to hear some of your personal anecdotal experiences that shaped the way you believe what you believe.
There's another experience I had of when I was a child, way back before the internet. When I was 11 years old, I had my first crush on a girl in real life. Like I think every young boy has an experience of having a crush on like TV and video game girls before they have a crush on a girl in real life. The first girl I liked in real life never liked me. I talked to her all throughout junior high and high school, and we went to the same college and everything. And then after that, she kind of gained weight and I got in shape. Like that was when I cleaned myself up after college. Immediately, the power balance shifted so much that she just was in the sleeper zone for me immediately. And my entire perception of women changed because this was someone who I had been putting up on a pedestal for over a decade. And now she was letting me sleep with her for over a year without no signs of commitment at all. And also she, cheated on her boyfriend with me and didn't tell me about it. And I was like, oh, that's how women treat you if they find you attractive? I did not know that. So numerous kinds of experiences like that. Lots of times that I met women on dating sites and then they came over and I've been very promiscuous, which I do not recommend. It didn't do good things for me, but I had experiences that taught me about women. Like women would show up at my apartment and we would start doing stuff and I would touch her hand and there'd be a wedding ring on it. And I'd go, "Are you married?" And they'd go, "Yeah." And I'd be like, "What do you mean? Yeah. Like, yeah, this is just not a big deal to you." Lots of things revealed themselves to me when I became popular in that way that I would never have learned about women otherwise. And I'm just trying to explain to men who have not had that experience. That was one of the big ones. There was a girl who was having really, really hard times, and we never had a sexual relationship, but she lived with me for a while. I just sort of supported her, and we would go out and do stuff together. And people would always assume that we were dating, and she was really offended by that. And I was thankfully to a point where that like it didn't bother me emotionally. I just sort of said to her, "Yeah, we look like we're dating." She was like, what do you mean? I'm a nine. And it's like, no, 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 no. We're on the same level. That was one of the times where it really hit me that girls that I'm going to like, this is not just like stars and girls who have millions and millions of views on social media. It's like normal everyday girls now think that they're nines, even though they're really quite average. Without getting into too much detail about, who she is and what she did, the details of her life affected her emotionally in a way that, made her consider herself in ways that were not accurate. I would have to just put it that way. Men who might not have ever been treated that way, that when you are up there, women will treat you that way. So when you are interacting with women, to know that if they don't have some of that for you, you're in a bad position. That's most of what I've extracted from that. I mean, I could go on about anecdotes all day long, but
Yeah, so it's a two-part question. We hear a lot about women and slut shaming or abuse on social media via criticisms of their looks. However, I look at women's Instagrams, especially maybe objective photos that would not be that attractive, and all you see in the comments is "Yes, queen, hot, gorgeous, hard eyes, hard eyes, hard eyes."
mhm.
So part one of the question is, are women now living more in a like a perpetual state of false victimhood, or am I just in a positivity bubble? That's the first part of the question. And then secondly, moving forward, will more traditional daddy-like men that tell them not always what they want to hear be more attractive, or are we going to see men that are more sexually open and free and woke be more attractive as women, make more money or try to implement more of like a boss friend?
Okay, those are two pretty complex questions. The first one is you're saying that women in social media spaces are changing in such a way that they're in a perpetual state of victimhood. Was that number one?
Yeah, like I mean, I just don't see a lot of the slut shaming online that women
No.
that's out there.
Yeah, no. What does that have to do with victimhood in your question?
So are they living in a false sense of victimhood, or am I just in the wrong echo chambers?
I'm not sure what you're getting at, so maybe. I
Oh,
mean, when
I,
you say
I,
a
I
false,
I
yeah.
think I get it. They complain on TikTok videos that they're getting slut shamed, but when he goes to look at their content, they're not being slut shamed. They're being told, "Yes, queen."
They could just be looking for a way to justify that feeling. So they can
Yeah.
say, I'm being victimized, I'm being victimized. That's a weapon in some people's toolkit, is they just say the world is victimizing me, and so therefore I get to do this. It's a brain hack. It makes people let you get away with things.
So that kind of reverts back to what you were saying earlier about just lack of maturity and accepting victimhood on their part.
Yeah, not really getting what's going on with you can make you just feel entitlement and then act it out. And for sure, I think that social media culture is preventing maturity to some degree. And then the other one was you said the kind of men that are going to be selected, right?
It's more attractive because I've noticed that I have a lot of traits of more of the traditional masculine men, but then I also like go to Burning Man and I'm like pretty sexually open. So it's kind of like I have both sides of the coin and I'm trying to decide which side I'm going to develop a little stronger.
Yeah, okay. So that's all right. I understand now. So definitely there are more women than there used to be, in my opinion, who go for unconventional men and who say, you're not 1940s axe swinging, tie wearing kind of masculine man, but women go for that anyway. That has to do with the development of the woman, how she constructs her world, what she values, and how she sees that. When I was in my prime, there were a lot of women who, like, I was broke. I was dead broke. And when women liked me, they were just really pleased to pay for me. Like I was the girl. And it was like, okay, we'll just do that. We'll just switch roles if you want. There's more of that than there used to be, I think. But when you're strategizing what to be, I don't know if I would necessarily privilege one side over the other. I would just say find what your strengths are and lean in, and find what your weaknesses are, see if you can turn them into strength. And then find out what kind of women like that and be around them, or find out what kind of women you like and then be what they want. So in terms of choosing, do you want to be the traditional masculine man or do you want to be the modern, softie? Which kind of girl do you want to like you? That should be your leading.
And I think maybe I'm explaining it too broadly. Maybe
Mhm.
in every situation, I'm starting to realize there's a masculine way of dealing with the situation, and there's more of a feminine way of dealing with the situation,
Yeah.
and both can be leveraged at better times, right? If your woman needs empathy or understanding, if you turn on a little bit more feminine, then that's better in that circumstance. I've also encountered situations like, example, being accepting of things like only versus not, situations where you're now I'm starting to consider, well, how do I really feel about this, and which stance do I want to kind of anchor more of my beliefs in, opposed to using the masculine and feminine as constant toolkits, because I've been using them constantly as toolkits, but I've also been feeling more lost and like I don't know who I am.
Let me help you out here a little bit. So if we could pull up the good guy traits, bad guy traits, I'm going to pull it up here real quick for everybody to see. Now, the thing is, what it says bad boy score, it doesn't say masculine score. And this is where things get a little weird, because when you deal with Harry Styles or if you deal with Machine Gun Kelly, so what you're going to see in Machine Gun Kelly is, does he come off as masculine when he wears a pink dress? The answer is no. But does he have facial symmetry and is he tall? The answer is yes. Does he have pre-selection from other women? The answer is yes. Right. So he gets pre-selection from other women. And then also, does he have a great deal of money, a large amount of influence, and is he famous? The answer is yes. I've seen guys show up to parties, heterosexual dudes, pickup artists, show up to parties in wearing fucking dresses because they think that they can replicate what a Harry Styles or what a Machine Gun Kelly can do. They look like weirdos. Machine Gun Kelly is famous. There's one other part, Michael, being disruptive. Being disruptive is a bad boy trait, but it doesn't have to be masculine. So Boy George, a lot of women found him attractive, but he was not necessarily masculine. Do you see what I'm saying? So when you think of bad boy traits, do not correlate masculine with attractive. For my girlfriend, she's from Southwest Arkansas. She does correlate masculine with attractive. One of her best friends, every guy that this girl has dated has been bisexual. She correlates masculine with unattractive. Okay. So it's just different. The other thing I want to tell you is, Michael, I would like for you to read a book called Why Women Have Sex by David Buss and Cindy Meston. And it goes over 237 reasons why women have sex with men. Women have what's called negative kurtosis, a large number of reasons why they'll have sex with men, whereas men, we kind of have like two. She's hot or she has a big butt. A lot of times she has a pretty face, she has a nice body. That's kind of it, right, for us. So that's the reason why, Michael. That's why it's going to seem confusing to you. You can have a bad boy trait and that bad boy trait not be masculine. That's why it's confusing.
Got it. Okay, makes more sense. Yeah, that's actually perfect timing because I needed a new book for tomorrow anyway. So awesome.
Beautiful.
Hey, what's up, Ometh? Huge fan, bro. I just had a question about the new diagram you had with like the Rubik's Cube versus guitar. I was gonna ask, when it comes to like whatever the hobby is, substitute guitar, Rubik's Cube, do you need to have that attraction there first for any hobby, or can any hobby be attractive? Because like take guitar for example, the guy who plays like some Bruno Mars stuff or like stuff that girls really like, he's gonna have success. But the guy who's like the goth heavy metal guy, he's probably not gonna have as much success. So what's like the fine line there? Like when you were making that diagram, like what makes a hobby attractive versus not?
The Rubik's Cube thing, the guy who did the Rubik's Cube was more attractive to women because he was already attractive for other reasons. He was dancing and rapping and he looked good and all that stuff. The non-attractive hobbies can make you more attractive if you're already attractive. There are hobbies and skills, let's say skills, that can make you more attractive. And the guitar is not
the skill itself.
Based on the skill itself, yes. And the reason that they make you more attractive is because they get you more power. Again, that masculinity section of zones is based on, can I create good conditions in my life and then share them with her? So this thing that you're doing, does it create conditions for you that make people respect you, that make people like you, that elevate you, that make you more money, that make you more popular, that give you social status? It used to be that guitarists and singers and rock bands were, that's why I drew that. It's like grew up in the 90s. It used to be that was the thing that elevated you, and women would just go crazy for that. Whatever it is that's popular, like you said, heavy metal isn't going to do it because it's not popular. Earlier, we spoke to somebody about niche markets. If you want a heavy metal girl, then being good at heavy metal will get you the girl because it elevates you in the niche market.
Right.
So the skills that you're looking to have are the ones that are going to increase your power and your income and your social status and your quality of life, that are going to make people like you and make people follow you and put you above others. That's going to make women say, "Oh, he's like competent and confident." And it can make up to some extent for a lack of physical attraction to some extent.
Makes sense. Then one other small question, like, because I know you have to do coaching too, about the dark part of attraction. How do you teach guys that if they're not like inherently a narcissist or a psychopath?
Do you mean the dark triad traits, or do you mean bad boy traits?
If you look at the chart, it says under attraction, there's one that's labeled dark.
Yeah, I'm superior. I always get my way. Nobody better mess with me, right? So
do you even teach that at all, or do you even teach that at all?
I do. Now, I'm trying to be really careful because a lot of people have misinterpreted what I'm saying. I'm not saying be a bad person and hurt people. I'm saying that women want to see that you have the ability to go dark if you have to. Like when there's a threat, can you turn against the threat? Or are you just going to be Mr. Nice Guy forever, even when you're getting run over? That's not attractive. The way that I teach this to men is it's a very difficult and sensitive thing, and it's very unconscious. So when I talk to them one at a time, I ask them, what do you say to women? How do you treat women? How did your last date go? And I try to show them areas where they could introduce this. And usually there is some kind of realization of, oh, she wanted me to say it like that, or she wanted me to do this. And I go, probably. Next time, maybe try being a little bit more this way. Instead of being nicer, be a little bit more like take up space, be a little bit more I'm awesome, be a little bit more inward directing of energy, and see if she, what's that?
Giving yourself permission. That's what Michael usually.
Yes. That's pretty much exactly how I would put it. One of the things I tell men to do is read 50 Shades of Grey until you understand why women like it. You read it and it's cartoonishly bad writing. Women read it because, again, it's the salt, fat, and sugar of female attraction. They read it and they go, this is what I want men to do to me. And men don't understand that. They go, oh, why do women like this? Well, it's the same reason that you like pornography. It's boiled down to the basic things that cause attraction.
Noted. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sure.
Awesome, man.